Good morning. Happy New Year, everybody. Chris Worden.
Andy Jones-Wilkins.
And I'm Barber.
And we didn't do a preview show for this race, but I think we'll probably be able to get a pass on that as it's.
We were a little busy.
Yeah, I was out at Across the Years. You were out at Across the Years. You were out at Across the Years. Of course, the holidays and everything. We would have had to do that preview show on New Year's Day, and that probably wouldn't have gone very well. But we are here to post-game about the Sonoran Desert Cup. The first race in the 2025 session of the Sonoran Desert Cup is the Tan Scramble 26K. And, microphones. And we had a couple of surprises here this week at the Sonoran Desert Cup 26K. First of all, for those that aren't familiar, let's kind of tell them about the course out at Santan Regional Park.
Yeah, the 26K flat, fast, and runnable except for one spot. So they do the 17K loop, which is a big perimeter loop around the park. That includes the infamous gold mine climb. They're doing the backside of the climb, so it's the steeper, more rugged section. Then they bomb down the front side, come through the start-finish, and they run the more flat 9K course after that. So it's really runnable, really quick, at just one really slow section.
And aside from the climb, it's pretty smooth, right?
Very smooth, yeah. It's like the trails out there for a lot of horses and stuff too. Mm-hmm. It's the most popular regional park that we have in Maricopa County.
I'm actually surprised at that.
Yeah, the Santan, it's that whole southeast valley is just blowing up, and they have like the most annual passes, most visitors. They only do 3 events per year there because they fill up pretty much every day.
And Gold Mine, one of the things about running that loop is that you are kind of weaving in and out of people that are just there hiking. That I do remember.
Yep. That's probably a bigger issue descending Gold Mine in either direction because
there's just a lot of hikers out there, dog walkers, everything.
You see your ideal line, but there might be a family there, so then you're ripping down the hill and have to dodge around them.
I actually have a love-hate relationship with the Tan Scramble course, as it was my very first 50K, my first ultra.
Oh, cool.
It would be 10 years ago this Friday. That I ran Tan Scramble. Back then, the race had a 9-hour limit in the 50K, and I finished in 8:59:08.
All right.
So, and when I got done, this was back in the olden days, the before times of Aravaipa. When I finished, the only things that were there at the finish line were Jamil, his mom, another woman, and a laptop attached to the finish line with sitting on a chair, and everything was loaded into the truck. And they asked if I needed anything, and I said, "Can we put the laptop on the ground so I can have the chair for a few minutes?" So, but yeah.
What? No beer garden, no big screen TV.
No. That's the way it was back in those days. Yeah. So of course nowadays, if you run an Aravaipa race as part of the Desert Trail Series in the fall or the spring, you get a whole different experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, of course, that's something that you've been working on and putting together. Are there any new aspects that are getting ready to be added to the 2025 session, perhaps?
As far like the fall series or the
fall versus spring.
Actually, just talked about that. There are some tweaks that we're making to a few of the races.
Sure.
So. Can't talk about them just yet.
Okay.
We got to get everything cleared with Jamil, and we think we have a meeting on tomorrow, Wednesday, about those changes. But it would probably be for Thriller, looking at potentially making the 50K an out and back instead of point to point. Possibly that's something to talk about. And then at Pass Mountain, switching the 50K up to a single loop instead of 2 loops.
Oh, that would be cool.
So I've got the courses for it. We just got to talk about viability and how that would work logistically. Those would be the 2 big ones, aside from some minor tweaks here and there to some of the races.
Okay. Anything else this spring? I mean, when people come out to these races, it's not just the running. There's the beer gardens. There's the food trucks. A lot of times we have vendors doing demos and stuff like that. I know it's not uncommon for us to have a rep from a brand like enabling people to try on shoes and everything like that.
The biggest change or new addition this year, Never Second. Nutrition hopped on for all the dirt series. So they are officially launching at Coldwater, but they were able to send us product on really short notice for Santan. So that was at all the aid stations. So we're doing their drink mix, their gels, and their solids at all our aid stations. And they'll be at Coldwater with like demoing product and
Cool.
kind of doing some activation there.
I know we're going to talk about Santan, but Coldwater,
Yeah.
it's less than 2 weeks away.
It is.
I call it the winter javelina.
Absolutely.
I just love that you come back through the
Yeah, it's a-
finish area. There's all the distances.
Yep.
The Estrellas have their own special beauty. How are things? I know you're probably cranking on all.
Yeah, I was
cylinders
gonna say,
getting
Coldwater's
ready for
coming
that.
up. I haven't noticed.
But how's it shaping up? I mean, we'll do a preview show for that
yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
How's
Coldwater-
Coldwater shaping up?
Coldwater's going great.
Yeah.
It's kind of my baby. That was one of the first things when I was hired. Jamil asked me to do was do the revamp and switch the whole new course, new location, everything like that.
I remember that. Meeting you, you were out like scouting all over the place
Yeah.
out there, and
Yep.
it is your baby, and I think it's a good baby, and I think it's a race. If people are listening from out of the area, it's a race to have on the calendar.
Definitely.
You know?
You definitely have made huge changes to that race. I mean, when Coldwater was originally part of the schedule, it was in a completely different part of the park. You
Yep.
had ramadas and everything like that. Now you're actually in another area where you have to basically create everything from scratch.
Yeah, I
every
love
year.
building cities. That's that.
Right.
Well, that's what you do.
It literally has that kind of javelina city feel. The runners run through all the tents and the vehicles and everything else.
Yeah.
It's right in the shadow of the Phoenix racetrack.
I think that's a
which
cool-
is,
that
which
is
is a
cool.
really
Dynamic.
cool. You get a view of it coming down that final descent. I mean, there's some aspects of that race that are really fun and cool.
Yeah, it's right next to PIR.
Yeah.
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 Last year we had like 40 or 50 people in the 100 mile. We're over 100 runners in the 100 mile for this year, so it's it's shaping up to be a
That's
good day.
great.
Well-
Around the middle of January 100, you get more than 100 people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, most of the races on the calendar for 100 milers tend to be, flatter, faster, at least, from what obviously because the mountain races are way unrunnable right now. But that's probably actually one of the more technical American hundreds in this time of year.
Absolutely. And you've got some challenges, for example, not the least of which is a really long night.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's January, right?
It gets cold out
it's,
there.
It's 7, 8, 9 hours of daylight and then a lot of dark.
A lot of dark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about Coldwater in probably next
in a week.
But let's circle back around to
Yeah.
what happened at Santan this weekend. We've got we're going to focus primarily on the Sonoran Desert Cup 26K because I think that race was fascinating. But we do have a
Absolutely.
couple other notes that we'd like to hit as well. First of all, let's start off with the women's race, and we had two familiar names pop off at the top, but they switched their order here, and I have to say I am super impressed with Megan Cooper's coming away with the win.
Yeah, it was amazing to see that. And, Elsa McDonald is, a semi-local favorite and jumps into these races from time to time. And I think that's a surprising result for Megan, for sure. I mean, Megan's a stud, but that was sweet. How did it go down?
Yeah, they were pretty close. I didn't really see them when they came through because that was when like the a lot of the other distances were finishing. So
Right.
I was more looking at like the computer. I was like, oh shoot, they're on their second lap. But you had like the 5K and the 9K, all the finishers pouring in at that time, while the 26K runners finished their first loop. But yeah, Megan finished. I announced her, and it seemed like immediately after I got done announcing that, Elsa was crossing the line.
So Elsa was actually 6 seconds ahead of Megan after the first loop.
Perfect.
Oh,
So
really?
Megan pushed. That's actually pretty impressive. Just looking at the results, it looks like Megan came through at 1:23:40 after the 17K loop, and Elsa came through at 1:23:34.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So they were right there.
Yeah. So they were neck and neck for the entire time. Megan came back and ran Elsa down in the second loop, which is actually the flat and fast loop.
Yep, fast one. So.
Which would favor Megan in that course. I mean, the more hills, I think the more it favored Elsa. But
think so.
The more flat terrain, the more Megan was there. In third place, we had Lori Stillwell. I wasn't really familiar with Lori, but I do know that she finished 18 seconds ahead of a local runner who was extremely talented in Laura Rayburn.
Mm-hmm.
So Lori Stillwell in third, Laura Rayburn in fourth. Tiffany Stroud was in fifth. Sixth, Natalie Martin. Seventh, Jennifer Walrich. Eight, Terry Rashid. Terry is no stranger to
No,
Aravaipa,
yeah.
having run pretty much everything on the calendar. Charlotte Lee's in ninth. Krista Wamsley in 10th. Don't want to confuse anybody there. Megan O'Connor in 11th.
Quick note on that.
Yes.
Krista Wamsley, 1 second ahead of Megan O'Connor for 10th and 11th.
Oh. They might have been running together.
They might have
Who
been running
knows?
together.
Shaylin Scoggin in 12th, Julie Ford in 13th, Stephanie DeRoss in 14th, and Lindsay Mastery, another local runner I know, in 15th.
Oh, yes, I know Lindsay.
Yeah, so that is what your women's race looked like.
Again, points in the series go 20 deep.
Yeah.
So everybody's cranking up their first set of points in the springs, even though we're in the winter, in the spring series of the Sonoran Desert Cup. Again, best 2 results out of 4 races this season.
And, of course, you have to run 2 because there were people who ran 1 race, won it, and didn't do anything further. So... but the men's race, we had a bit of a ringer drop in here.
Yeah.
Scott Trayer won. Give us the lowdown on that, Aaron. I think he had a classic Trayer quote.
Yeah, Scott said he wanted to come in and beat up on the young guys, and he followed through with that. So.
Yeah, Scott coming up just short. Actually, let's Megan Cooper's one thing we didn't say that she got the course record at this race. So congratulations to Megan on that. And she and Elsa both ran under the course record. So Scott Trayer, though, finished just short of the course record that he was chasing down, which is a pretty stout one.
Oh, yeah. Charlie Ware from 2017 or so. It's been around for a bit.
Arizona legend, Charlie Ware.
Yeah.
But Scott Trayer winning Julian Couillou, no stranger to the Sonoran Desert Cup.
Right.
Basically, this has been kind of an opportunity to get to know him over the course of the last few months. Finishing in second. Nick Taylor out of Mesa, Arizona in third. John Hottinger out of Duluth, Minnesota, coming down and finishing fourth. You said that there was a contingent?
Yeah, there's a whole tent of Duluthites, Minnesotans coming down. But yeah, they had people running all the distances. There was probably 6-ish runners, and then the crews and families and stuff too.
Can't blame them. It's like 10 below up there.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going back to the Midwest for some travel. I'm originally from there, and I'm not really looking all that forward to the weather aspect of it.
I've got an athlete I coach from there who's in Western States, Michael Coppy. You might remember him from Cocodona last year. He's basically dragging a sled every day.
Oh, boy.
Doing that Rocky 4 workout stuff. So. William Johnson in 5th, rounding out the top 5 in that race. Going a little bit further, Michael Rebani in 6th, Ryan Guidan in 7th, Christopher Williams in 8th, Daniel Martin, my old roommate, in 9th, and Bradley Zartman in 10th, and a familiar name in 11th, and Nathaniel Chan.
There you go, Nathaniel, our local Hoka rep.
Yeah,
good to see Nathaniel
guy.
Running healthy again.
Yeah, Timothy Cooper in 12th, Alexander Coleman Bennett in 13th, Mike Hermley in 14th, and Tom Simon rounding out the top 15. Of course, as we mentioned, the points go 20 deep, though, so that's something that these runners will, I assume those that are coming into the, going to log on and find out once the page is updated to see where they stand there.
Yep.
Here's a good flyover of the course.
Yeah, this is the south
so
end.
Wait, actually, there was another aspect. Can you come in here, sir?
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you about your day because you were kind of my pick to win it here.
I know. I scrolled down to the bottom of this list and was almost shocked.
So we are here with Aravaipa's own Bryce Brooks. Bryce, you were one of the favorites to win this race, and you came away with a result that was somewhat surprising.
Yeah, I was the only DNF in the entire 26K, which is pretty cool.
What happened out there?
It was a series. I just had a rough day in the office is how I put it. So took a spill early on.
Oh, my.
I was with Scott and Julian for most of the first loop. Took a spill, got back up, had a bit of a Charlie horse, caught back up to him. Well, not Scott. Scott. Sorry, so I'll rewind a little bit. I fell, and then Julian took a bathroom break. After I fell, I was catching up to him. That's Scott realized he's on a bit of an island, and he put in a surge.
Got it. Okay.
So then Scott put in a pretty good gap, caught up to Julian. We went to the top of the gold mine climb together, and then there was like a chute of hikers like kind of cheering everybody on as they're going up the hill. And I was going to say thanks, hi, and then I just dry heaved as soon as I got up to him. So I went, and then got to the top, started throwing up, finally made it down through to the second loop, and then took a wrong turn.
Man, you had that's the Holy Trinity.
All three.
Fell, puked, and took a wrong turn.
So, so the wrong turn part is what fascinates me.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So you're from like that neck of the woods.
So that's I think therein lies the issue. Is that I felt too confident and I was not looking at the course markers. And I just miscounted my turns, so I took the second right turn onto Stargazer instead of Hedgehog.
Oh.
And by the
There
time
were wrong turn sign. Or
Aaron's making sure it said wrong way. Don't go.
yeah, credit to Aaron. Course was very well marked. But I got up to the top of Stargazer, and then I realized this bench does not look right. And then it kind of loops you back down through the start-finish line, and by the time I got back onto the trail, I was, we'll call it a day.
Well, I'm sorry that it didn't turn out your way. It sounds like you went through all sorts of hell out there in terms of the conditions, your stomach, and everything like that. But I was really kind of surprised, and
I mean, you packed Bryce, you packed an awful lot into an hour and 12 minutes.
But that's a hell of a fast first loop on hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's cooking. But I'm sorry that things didn't go out. Are you going to be running any more of the Sonoran Desert Cup to try and redeem yourself?
We'll see. Elephant Mountain, I think, gonna be tied up, but then Coldwater and Pacing, there's a chance Elephant works out for me. But I'll be in Mesquite most likely, at least for the I think it's the 30K at Mesquite. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
That backside goat camp climb. So. Well, Bryce, I just wanted to touch base with you. Thanks for joining us here.
Yeah, Bryce is like, I made a mistake coming into the studio.
I saw him walk into the coffee, and I was like, oh, we need to talk. So,
yeah, still a good day out there. It's fun running with the guys.
Trails, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, folks, Bryce Brooks, definitely one of the people that helps make this whole organization go. So.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So another aspect that we wanted to talk about was we had a bit of a discovery on the course in the 50K. Can you talk about that, Aaron?
Yeah, so it's a gentleman named Jordan Bramblett who's been ruining my races for over a year. And by ruining, I mean he always comes to aid stations too quick because he's usually on course record pace. But that was really cool to see. I talked to him before the race and asked if he was going for the course record. He said yes. It's a stout course record, 3:42 from Charlie Ware. He ended up breaking it by 12 minutes and running a super fast 3:30 50K there.
That's wild because you think about the fact that he has a triple gold mine climb on that.
Yeah.
And to be able to still push out a 3:30 50K on that course is super impressive.
Yeah, his fastest mile, he said, was a 5:23, which I don't even care if it's downhill. That's quick in a 50K.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like he's got some upcoming race plans that are high profile.
He is going for a golden ticket at Black Canyon. He's from just north of Prescott, so familiar with the area. I think he coaches at Embry-Riddle cross country. But yeah, he's a local kid. But yeah, 40K last year at Damn Good Run. That has the water crossing with the rafts. I was very worried he was going to beat the boats there. So I was sweating it out there. So we kind of met at Damn Good Run, and he showed up to Santan and absolutely smashed it.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, that's a name to look out for sure at Black Canyon. And just thinking, gosh, we've got a lot going on. We've got Coldwater in a week and a half. By the way, both of us are running a couple of the distances or participating in a couple of the distances. As
pinning bibs.
Pinning bibs, indeed. I plan on getting my money's worth at Coldwater. Then, of course, Black Canyon 100K.
Elephant Mountain before
and
that.
Elephant Mountain before that.
So, we've got not to mention, so it's Coldwater Rumble in a week and change, then a week off, then Elephant Mountain, then Black Canyon, then Jackpot in successive weeks. The schedule is completely stacked. How are you? Are you ready for everything with Coldwater and Elephant?
Yeah, this is my crux of the year. I mean, Santan, Coldwater, and Elephant are all within 5 weeks. So that's my by far my busiest stretch of the year.
Yeah.
Things are going well though. And then I do a training run for Elephant Mountain this coming weekend. So
really?
I don't know why I do this to myself.
A glutton for punishment.
Free weekend. Let's do a 25-mile training run.
Well, those trails out there, Cave Creek Regional Park is my favorite, or one of my two favorites as part of the Maricopa scene. I mean, I love the diversity of those trails. You can do some flat and fast running. if you just go east from the trailhead. Otherwise, if you wanted to go and climb, you've got Gojon, you've got Quartz, you've got all sorts of great things. You can do long sloping downhills, you can do punchy uphills, or you can do them backwards and get the opposite. So, which hill training is going to be a part of my life for the next few months. So. But yeah, Aaron, thanks for joining us. We look forward to talking with you about Coldwater. We'll try and get our notes together and
absolutely.
And convene next week.
That'll be next week. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Happy New Year, everyone.